Most owners who hurt their dogs never meant to. That is the part that makes this conversation worth having, not to assign blame, not to catalog failures, but because the things on this list are common, some of them are widely recommended. And most of them are still practiced in households where the dog is genuinely loved. Good intentions and accurate information are not the same thing. And the gap between them is where these behaviors live. Things that feel reasonable or traditional or like something that just comes with having a dog, that are actually doing specific harm to the specific animal who is trusting you not to. Not a long list, not dramatic. Each item precise, behavioral, and worth the 30 seconds it takes to absorb. The first is punishing her after the fact. She chewed the couch an hour ago. You found it when you got home. She gave you the look, the lowered body, the soft eyes, the expression that every owner reads as guilt, and you responded to it. The look is not guilt. Behavioral research into canine responses to owner displeasure has established that dogs produce appeasement behaviors, lowered posture, averted gaze, flattened ears, in response to owner frustration regardless of whether they performed the relevant behavior. She looks guilty when you are angry, not because she connected your anger to the couch, because you are angry and she is trying to reduce it. The punishment did not reach the behavior, it reached her relationship with your homecoming. Enough repetitions of this, and your return becomes an event she braces for rather than anticipates. Not because she misbehaved, because she has learned that your arrival sometimes produces an unpredictable emotional event she cannot account for. If you did not catch it happening, let it go. Address the circumstance that allowed it, not the dog who has already moved on. The second is using her name as a punishment. Her name should mean one thing without exception. Something good is about to happen from the direction of the person she loves. Every time her name precedes a correction, a sharp tone, a reprimand, the association erodes. The name becomes a variable. Sometimes it predicts good things. Sometimes it predicts the opposite. A dog who has heard her name used as a correction enough times develops a faint hesitation before she responds. Not disobedience, not stubbornness, but the natural caution of an animal whose name has stopped being a reliable predictor of safety. Use a different word to interrupt unwanted behavior. Her name is a promise. Keep it. The third is forcing an interaction she is trying to exit. She turned her head away. She licked her nose. She shifted her weight back. She offered every signal available to her that this interaction needed to slow down or stop. And the interaction continued anyway because the signals were not recognized, or because the interaction felt important to you in a way that overrode what she was communicating. This is the piece most owners miss entirely. The dog who has learned that her communication does not work, that offering a signal produces no change in what is happening to her, is a dog whose communication becomes louder over time, not as a choice. As the inevitable escalation of an animal who started at the quietest available signal and found it ignored. The growl that seems to come from nowhere came from the look away and the nose lick and the weight shift that came before it, in the interactions where those were not enough. Honor the exit. The dog who can exit a difficult interaction without escalating is a dog who never needs to escalate further. The fourth is using physical intimidation as a training tool. The alpha roll, the scruff shake, the physical domination techniques that were once widely recommended and have since been comprehensively discredited by behavioral science, both for their ineffectiveness as learning tools and for their specific damage to the trust relationship between dog and owner. Long-term behavioral observation of dogs subjected to confrontational training methods has documented elevated anxiety, increased aggression toward owners, and, critically, the suppression of warning signals. A dog trained not to growl is not a dog who no longer feels the thing that caused the growl. She is a dog who has learned that communicating the warning produces an aversive outcome. The warning stops. The bite, when it comes, appears without warning. Physical intimidation does not build compliance built on understanding. It builds compliance built on fear. And compliance built on fear is fragile, unpredictable, and comes at the specific cost of the trust that takes years to build and moments to damage. The fifth is leaving her with no predictability in her day. The walk that sometimes happens and sometimes does not. The rules that change based on your mood. The version of you she gets that is different enough from day to day that she cannot build a reliable map of what the day holds or what is expected of her in it. She is not being difficult when the inconsistency produces inconsistent behavior. She is being accurate. She cannot learn rules that are not rules. She cannot relax into a world she cannot predict. The low-level vigilance of a dog who has learned that the environment is variable, that the schedule is unreliable, that the standards shift, is not personality. It is the reasonable response of a nervous system that has not been given enough consistency to rest. Predictability is not a luxury for a dog. It is the architecture of her calm. Every day, the routine holds. Her baseline settles a fraction lower. Every day it is upended significantly. It does not. The sixth, the one that runs underneath all the others, is misreading tolerance as happiness. She holds still for the hug. She endures the interaction with the stranger who reaches over her head. She complies with the handling of her paws and her ears without the resistance that would make the discomfort visible. She tolerates. Tolerance is not the same as okay. A dog who tolerates something is a dog who has assessed the situation and decided that the cost of communicating discomfort is higher than the cost of enduring it. That assessment is a reflection of her trust in you. She is choosing compliance over communication because she loves you enough to absorb the discomfort rather than risk the relationship. That is not a dog who is fine. That is a dog who loves you enough to pretend she is fine, and those two things look identical until they do not. Until the tolerance has been extended past what the dog can sustain, and the behavior that emerges when tolerance runs out looks, to the owner, like it came from nowhere. It did not come from nowhere. It came from every moment of tolerance that was misread as happiness, added up across every interaction where she said something quiet and nothing changed. None of these require you to be a perfect owner. They require you to be an accurate one, to hold your dog's experience with the same seriousness you hold your intentions, to close the gap between the care you mean to offer and the care she is actually receiving. She is not keeping score. She is not accumulating grievances. She is simply an animal doing her best to navigate a world she did not design, with a person she has decided to trust completely, offering her signals in the quietest available language and hoping every time that they are received. Receive them. Not perfectly, not always, more often than you did yesterday. That is all it takes to be the owner she already believes you are. Which of these felt most important to you? And is there one you are going to change first? Tell me in the comments. If this is the kind of watching you want to keep doing, subscribing means the next one finds you.